All right, let's go. Now, and I don't know if it's morning, afternoon, evening, night that you're receiving this, but either way, hello. All right, I'm a little tired, but I'm pushing myself to make sure I make this video. The reason why I'm making this video is, as many of you who know me may know, that I had a court date on June 6, 2016 at 1:15 p.m. at the District Court for Baltimore City. Upon going to court, the reason why I ended up going to court is because I filed against my landlord, because I just got tired of them adding charges on my account that were unjustified. They had ended up breaching the 60-day auto renewal clause, section Maryland State Law 8-203. Now, many of you might not be aware of this, but when it comes to the automatic renewal clause in your lease, if your initial or your name is signed by that area, that makes it valid. Regardless to what it has there, if it does not have your initials or your signature nearby, it's not valid. So it can say that you have a yearly lease, and if it's not there, they can terminate your lease and turn around and say, oh, you didn't have a year lease. Well, we don't have to renew you because that signature isn't there. So if there's not one there, if you take an apartment, put yours there anyway, just squeeze it in. Another thing is this. The Maryland State Law 8-203 states that in an automatic renewal, what has to happen is the landlord must give you a 60-day notice of any or all changes in terms and conditions of your current lease. Which means if they're going to go up, if they're going to change the term saying you can use the laundry room but now you can't use the laundry room, if they're changing anything in it, they must give you notice of those changes within 60 days. If you receive a renewal letter, that doesn't mean that that is adequate. It's only adequate if the changes that's in the terms and conditions are listed on your renewal letter. For instance, if everything in your lease is staying the same except for your rent amount is going to be increased or decreased if you're fortunate, but you know, they don't have much. But just say if your rent goes up and they're only changing the use of the laundry facility, for instance, and they have that on your lease renewal letter, then that is adequate information that needed to be provided in your renewal letter, as long as it's 60 days before your lease has to expire. If you receive a renewal letter and they tell you changes in your insurance policy, changes in your rent, changes in a few terms and conditions, but don't tell you what those terms and conditions are, and then you later get your lease and you see these changes in it, and by the time you get your lease, if that lease is not within that 60 days, before that 60 days, then that changing in terms and condition. They can't change a thing. They can't go up on your rent. They can't change your water bill. They can't change your utility bill. They can't change no term and condition. They can't do any of it as long as your signature or your initials is by that automatic, excuse me, my nose is itching, renewal clause. And nonetheless, I just want you to be aware of that because it's important. That's where my situation is. They breached the lease. They didn't give me the change of all the terms and conditions until 47 days before my lease was about to expire, which means they breached the lease. Not only that, the change of terms that they gave me was about anywhere between 87 and 92% different than a lease I have, and about 92 to 96% difference than the lease that every other renter got. My lease was 22 pages, I believe it was, and everyone else was 12 or 14. Okay, so nonetheless, let's get back to this thing. Excuse me. So I had a court date. I go to court. And the reason why, again, I went to court is because they're putting these charges on my account, and I wasn't going to stand for it anymore. I heard the Lord tell me, sometimes you have to pick up your sword and shield to prepare yourself for the battle. And sometimes you have to pick up that same sword and shield and take the battle to your opponent. And I knew what he meant. So I went and filed. And I filed on him. Because this was clearly retaliation, clearly harassment. Is because they cannot get me to withdraw from this tenant association. That it had several other people that they was able to get off this association board, this leadership board, and even membership through all kinds of means. So I'm just going to leave it at that for now. But nonetheless, because when I give certain information, when it goes that far out, I want to be able to have the evidence in front of me to show you what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, so anyway, because they couldn't do that, they went as far as trying to buy me out my lease, trying to get a lawyer to get me to meet with them to offer me money. This is the owner. We're talking about the owner, and the owner of this building. I live in Bristol House Apartments. The owner of this building is Blue Ocean. The entity is Blue Ocean Realty LLC, trading as Blue Ocean Bristol LLC, or doing business as Blue Ocean Bristol LLC. And the owner is Jonathan Ehrenfeld. This is who owns this building. You might know him. We got buildings all over the place, apartment buildings, high rises, mid rises, corporate offices, strip malls, warehouse, industrial areas, doing quite well, it appears. Doing quite well for a young guy. But the issue is that doing well at the detriment of the people who's paying rent or paying for leases. In my case, yes. In this building, yes. I'm not the only one, but I'm the only one that's been dealing with it to such an aggressive nature because I am on the Tenant Association board. Again, they tried to write out threats. I got a system here that doesn't even work. I can't use it because foul smells come out the HVAC system, so I don't have heat. In the winter, I don't have air. In the summer, like hot days like this. But just by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, on a hot day like this and the days it's been, I can be in this apartment and won't be uncomfortable, won't be sweating crazy, won't be freezing in the winter, because the Lord has shifted. Because when I first got here, the sun used to always come right in, no shade, just for the sun. But when this stuff started, everything shifted, so I don't have any suffering to that degree. Am I 100% comfortable? No, I'm not 100% comfortable, but I am not in a detrimental situation where I feel my health and my life is in jeopardy. If I turn on that system, it would be, because I got sick off the system. We had a meeting here before, and the former president had got sick. We had to stop the meeting. I had plants that turned black like charcoal and died, so I don't even fool with it. But nonetheless, they have denied me maintenance. They have gave me fake violation letters when I would not meet with the owner. My name was mysteriously taken off several housing lists that I applied for to get assistance a couple of years ago. Mysteriously taken off, but then I was mysteriously put on another housing list with Innovative Housing Incorporated. And surprisingly enough, the apartment that they showed me is owned by Kai, which the owner of this building is on the board of. Thought that was interesting. But right before that happened, I received a notice from the county about some apartments that was available to me. I can just choose any one of them, and all of them was horrendous. But then I found out that the system did not send me that notice. Yep, I found that out. Nonetheless, let's move forward. Try to buy me out my lease. I got documentations of that. I got the calls from the owner's executive assistant from to meet with me. The property manager came down. Jessica Fuller came down and asked, "Well, hey, he want to meet with you." And when I wouldn't submit to any of that, that's when my name was put on this housing list. I was end up getting violation letters, all these other different things that's been going on. Then they keep putting stuff on my account. They take me to court saying that I owe this money. And see, they was able to get away with it once in district court because, see, district court, one thing I've learned, and it's not all judges because I've sat in many different cases, but unfortunately there's a good number of the judges that are very biased when it comes to landlords. And could that bias be because there are some tenants, and there are a good number of tenants who get a place, sign a lease without expecting to pay anything. Just want to live rent-free as long as they can live. Excuse me. But however, there's a multitude of renters who pay on time, who pay their bills, cause no problems, and just want to live comfortably and peaceably as the lease states that they should, which I am one of those people. Unfortunately, you have things that happen. They're jacking up these gas bills $200, $300, $400 or more. Even a $75 gas bill is still high. And we're not talking about with electric. We're talking about strictly gas. So with all of this going on and them not being able to stop the tenant association and get me off and get me out of this building, they have really been trying to put the pressure down on the system. But out of 3 court cases, I've been victorious in all 3. 2 direct wins, 1 indirect win. The indirect win was because they didn't want to go forward because they knew at this point I had the evidence to prove that they manipulated the district court in order to get a judgment, a legal judgment at that. So, but the other 2 I won, and the one that's the biggest I won was I went in November of last 2015 to the appeals court. We won it, got our verdict in February 22nd, 2016 of this year. But the awesome part about it is because this particular win wasn't just for me. Every last renter in Maryland, that's right, you, me, and any other body that's renting can use this because the law, because that appeals hearing, the highest court now, had determined that rent is strictly the emphasis in which you're occupying your apartment, your house. It does not include things deemed as rent like utilities or as rent like maintenance costs and all of these other things. It's strictly the place you are inhabiting. So that's all it is. So that's big. So when you got these landlords trying to jack up these utility costs or these maintenance costs, trying to take a person to court because when they pay their rent, they turn around and take the rent and apply it to the utility or the maintenance cost or whatever they're going to apply it to, and take a person to court and say, hey, they didn't pay the rent. Now this can help stop all of that. So again, that was a good win. So nonetheless, now we're at June 6th. June 6th, like I said again, I heard the Lord, I filed. 43 minutes after they received my complaint on April 12th, because I filed on April 5th, on April 12th of this year, 43 minutes after receiving it, they sent me a certified bogus letter with a whole bunch of nonsense in it. But of course, we know it's retaliation because of my complaint, which was good, even though they backdated the letter. The certification is what it is. Nonetheless, let's keep it moving. I go to court. Nobody for the landlord, nobody from Blue Ocean Realty LLC shows up. Not one person. The judge on deck decided to have the court officer go out twice to run around the building to see if they could find anybody. Didn't find anybody. The judge then moved to say, well, the defendant that weren't there stated in their written letter, the statement to defend, that you filed for the wrong entity. That I should have filed for Blue Ocean Bristol LLC instead of Blue Ocean Realty LLC. So as he was going forth with that, I'm listening to him and I'm like, my mind is stuck on, wait a minute, now I don't call Maryland Legal Aid, who are tenant landlord experts, and they told me to file, excuse me, they told me to file Blue Ocean Realty LLC because Blue Ocean Bristol don't own itself, Blue Ocean Realty does. So he's going forth, and I'm sitting here looking at him like, okay, now how in the world could this be possible? That he's going forth with a case defending their word that's on paper, not notarized, not a legal document whatsoever, just a court document with the thing we're going to defend ourselves. Not even a court document, but their own document. When he could not get me, because he said I had to change my filing, I had to refile with this new name. And I said, well, he said, well, you're going to do that? I'm like, well, I don't know what I should do, Your Honor, because I was told by Maryland Legal Aid that Blue Ocean Realty LLC is the one I should file with for. So I gave him these court papers to see if it showed Blue Ocean Realty / Bristol House as evidence that these are Blue Ocean Bristol LLC, the same address, the same suite, the same zip code. And the judge tells me, well, this doesn't verify that this is Blue Ocean Realty LLC and what you're filing against, what your complaint is against, because it doesn't have the identifier, the LLC, on it. So this could be anyone. Same address, same suite, same zip code. So the only thing is missing is the little LLC. I said, okay. But I still would not submit to changing the filing. At this point, he said, okay, well, you know what? Let me go and call to find out how come nobody's here for the landlord. So he's gone 15, 20 minutes, whatever, and comes back. When he comes back, okay, here come the lawyer for them coming into the room. Now, while she's in the room, she says that, now mind you, she never shows any documentation and pull out any paperwork to say, here, Your Honor, here's the property taxes, here is the ground rent, or the whatever it is to prove that her statement that Blue Ocean Bristol LLC is a separate entity from Blue Ocean Realty LLC that is not of any business. The business of dealings are separate. She also mentioned that Blue Ocean Bristol LLC is what my former lawyer used from Public Justice Center, Mr. Shaw used. Her quote was, see, he used Blue Ocean Bristol LLC, so that tells you right there. That was her evidence. That was her evidence. So with that statement, the judge says, well, I'm going to take her word. I believe her word to be fact. You're going to take that. So you at least have to add them to the complaint if you want to go forth. But, you know, like more or less the complaint has to be against them. So I said, okay, well, let me make sure I'm understanding this clear. Because I told her, I said, well, first of all, Blue Ocean Realty owns Blue Ocean Bristol. And she mumbled something over that. And then I said, well, let me make sure I'm understanding. And I looked at the judge and I looked at the attorney. I said, so y'all telling me that the information I got from Maryland Legal Aid to file against Blue Ocean Realty LLC was incorrect, that I should have filed against Blue Ocean Bristol, despite it not owning itself, but Blue Ocean Realty owning it. And the lawyer says, I don't know why they would tell you that. That was her thing. Also, before the attorney got there, the judge says, also there was a countersuit. And I said, well, Your Honor, I was also told by Maryland Legal Aid that this countersuit is not valid because by Maryland State Law 5-301, 304, it's not coming to me. But nonetheless, when somebody files against you, anybody, they have 15 days from the time they receive the notice to file an intent to defend. From the time they file an intent to defend, they have 10 days to file a counterclaim. And it was way past that date. It was 11 days past the deadline, which that notice was listed. The date was listed on their counterclaim that they sent me in the mail. The judge's response, and I kid you not, was, that's kind of right. That's kind of right. I quoted the law, gave the number to the law, and he says that's kind of right. But he kept it intact. So when that ended, she also said, the lawyer also said that that the person, the agent, Miss Jessica Fuller, again, the property manager, could not be there. Well, she didn't say her name. She was trying to keep the name off the record, actually. And she said I was not able to be there because she called out sick or was sick. Now, mind you, she said the reason why she wasn't there on time was because her secretary mistook the 2 dates that we have court dates as the same and deleted one. That was her excuse. I'm gonna tell you, when that ended, I was bothered, but when I left there, and the more I thought about it, I got pissed. I was aggravated, and I was raging, and I could not shake it. So I talked to my mother. Mother said, "Look, I'm telling you, everything happens for a reason. I'm telling you, this happened the way it did for a reason." And I heard her, but I just couldn't get in there. because I was bothered. I was like, again, with this biasness in this court for these lands. Again, what I'm just like up to here, right? So I get home, still can't shake it. My alarm goes off for the prayer line, 8 p.m. And I'm like, I'm not getting on. I'm not getting on. I don't feel like being bothered with nothing. No, I just want to whatever. And I did say bothered because I just like I don't even want to talk. No, actually I say bothered. I said I don't even want to talk. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk. Well, the Holy Spirit had other plans. The Holy Spirit said you can't afford not to. Get up, pick up the phone. You got these minutes. Get up, pick up the phone. I said okay. Well, like I say, okay, my body's written, did it. I get on the prayer line, and Sister Octavia did a devotional. After we gave our praise reports and prayer requests, she read this devotional. And I was literally in tears. I mean, sobbing. Because everything in that devotional explained my situation before I went to court, when I went to court, what I felt after I went to court, what was to come, and what would the end result be. And I was in tears of relief and joy and peace. I sat there after the prayer line was over, about 35-40 minutes, just wallowing in it all, just letting it do what it was doing within me to cleanse me from this anger and this bitterness and help me forgive myself. Because I was more mad at the fact that I felt that way than what actually happened. Because I'm not one that, you rarely see me mad or, that rarely ever see that. So for me to be that way upset me more than anything else. But nonetheless, I get up from this meditation, and the Holy Spirit brings me right over to the computer. I'm at the computer, and he takes me to the site. And I'm just clicking. And the third click, because I said, well, let me record what I'm doing. So start record what I'm doing. And I clicked randomly on a file. And of all files, out of 359 files, I hit the one that said Blue Ocean Realty, LLC, current agent for Blue Ocean Bristol, LLC. So now we have the identifier that this judge said needed to exist in order for me to have a suit against the original complaint, the original defendant, Blue Ocean Realty LLC. The Holy Spirit said go through every last one. I went through every last one with a fine-tooth comb. Came up with several of those for different people. Interestingly enough, all filed within the last maybe 5-6 months this year. A couple of them at the end of this last year, but most of them was for this year alone. So that means they're current. Then, the last one I find, interesting enough, I found one with that lawyer. What's his name? Diane C. Bristow, Bristow. With her name on it. And she's representing 4001 Clark's Lane, this building. But the interesting part, remember I said that she said that you're supposed to have, if you file anything against this building, it's going to be Blue Ocean Bristol LLC. Nothing else whatsoever. But I found it interesting that on this document, it was Blue Ocean Realty, not Bristol. All right? So that means she purposely and intentionally lied to the court about me filing incorrectly. She purposely lied. And Maryland State Criminal Law 9-501 states that it's a misdemeanor punishable by 6 months in prison and or $500 fine for anyone giving a statement that will change or alter the original outcome of something, like a hearing or the proceedings or whatever it was. So I don't have it in front of me to read, but you can look it up, that's the law. So I'm sitting up here like, Lord, and I said to the Lord, well, I've been on this site. How come I didn't see any of this? And he said, because it had to be on record. And that's what it was. Okay? Then she said, remember I told you, she said that the agent couldn't be there because she called out sick or was sick. I'm not sure if it was called or was. Well, let me deal with that. I thought it was interesting that she said that for several reasons. The first reason was on Sunday, the day before the hearing, the association had so many calls about foul smells. It sounded like something died, or maybe somebody died or something in the apartment, whatever, was so foul that we got so many calls that we had to contact the management about it. Instead of what we told them, y'all got to contact management, we sent the email letting them know we received it. And in the email, it came back an automatic response, which means that means that's when a person is out of office, and it says, I will be out of the office from the 1st to the 9th. If you have anything, the email or call this other person. This is W. Stewart, but we Wednesday Stewart. I found that quite interesting for several reasons. One of the reasons that it was interesting is because, if she called out, then you would already known about it. Let me get it right. How can she call out on a day of a trial when she was already out of the office between the 1st and the 9th, if it was that she called out? If it was the fact that she was out, then that means you knew by the 1st that she was out. So that means somebody could easily came to replace her, because you have this window. She's going to be out from the 1st. That means she was out the month before. So you got a 6-day window to find someone else to fill in her spot. Okay. Another thing. She said that her secretary stated that she did not, she messed the dates up and she deleted one, so she did not know that she was supposed to be there. But if you didn't know you were supposed to be there, that means when you came, somewhere along the line from the time that you got called to the time that the judge called you to the time you came, somewhere between the line, that means you made a call. And that means you made a call, I guess, to see if the other person was there. I wouldn't think why you would make a call, because my thing is you would think the other person was already there, you forgot, but they're there. But if you made the call because you wanted to see if the other person was there, that means you did not know that this person was already out of the office, that they was already out sick, if they were out sick or called out, but then you found out. So that means that, one, she couldn't have been out if you had to call to see if she was coming. Two, if she was already out, that means everyone knew way before time, which means you would have known. She would have known way before time. But nonetheless, let's keep it moving. This other last part about the counterclaim. Now, they filed a counterclaim. This lawyer filed a counterclaim. I filed it, man, mind you, my plaintiff is against Blue Ocean Realty, LLC. The counterclaim is for Blue Ocean Bristol against Felicia Lockett. Now, maybe somebody can help me understand this. How can a person who's not originally filed going to file a counterclaim against somebody who never filed against them? Okay. So, you got the first thing is, it's 11 days past the date you can file for a counterclaim. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how can you file a counterclaim? How can Blue Ocean Bristol LLC file a counterclaim against me when they're nowhere listed on my complaint? Blue Ocean Realty is. And if they can do so, that means they are one and the same. Goes back to my original thing that I filed against the right person. But most importantly, and I found very interesting, not most importantly, but I found very interesting, was that when you look at the court docket, that counterclaim has not been submitted at all. Has never been submitted. So how does the judge have it? And how is he going forth on something that hasn't even been processed in the system? So with that said, and the reason why I'm putting this out is because I want us to start realizing that when anybody that's dealing with tenant landlord issues, we have to learn to be patient. We got to learn to stay prayed up. We have to stay around like-minded spiritual people. Because the reason why I was able to get so upset and frustrated when I left that court, and to feel this bitter, like I'm just so tired of this biasness, and I could have felt that way, but it stayed with me because God said we always have the right to our first emotion because it's honest and it's true. But we don't have the right to wallow in it. And I was there for a while in it. And the reason why is because my consistency of the fellowship and the prayer had been broken for almost 2 weeks. It wasn't balanced. It was here, because everything I had going on. And I realized when you're in a fight, when you're in a battle, you can't afford to miss anything that will help you, in this case myself, stay strong, be clear-minded, pick up these little things. But only by the grace of God that the church and the place where I worship, True Way Church of God, has so many things in place that allows me to continuously get something regardless how I'm away from the church. It's always something in place 6 days out of 7 days of the week. Something is always keeping us attached. And so again, I want to put that out. And the reason why I'm putting this out again, because I want to see what's going to happen now. I went and I filed the amendment the same day of the court date, June 6, 2016, because the judge said, in order for my case to be heard, I had to do this now, it would have been dismissed and I would have been no case. So I filed the amendment, reluctantly filed the amendment, and he also says across the desk there, he says, I know I should not be giving you legal advice, but I guess I already have been, so I would just tell you to go file an amendment, put them on it. So now, I got all this other evidence that the Lord has provided me with, and I sent it, put it into the court, sent it to both Bristol, Blue Ocean Bristol LLC and Blue Ocean Realty LLC, and I got a couple of disc and archives, a couple of places around, so no matter what happens, I'll still have that evidence, because I don't trust these people. That's why I don't leave nothing here. I try to make sure that whatever I have, I take it back to where I can keep it safe. So nonetheless, I just want to see what the court's going to do with the information that I submitted, because I filed 3 motions. The first motion was to dismiss the amended filing because it was not needed as stated by the defendant and approved by the court. 2, I filed the motion to retry original defendant because I was right in the first place to have them as a defendant. And 3, to dismiss a counterclaim that is not valid in any form or fashion is not valid. So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. They had quickly rescheduled a court date for that amended form. The day I filed them on the 6th, on the 8th, 2 days later, the 8th, they actually had, or the next day, they had a thing sent out to me saying, okay, you got a new date, July the 8th. So, of this year. So I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with that. So I'm going to keep you guys posted. Whenever the court dates come up, I'm going to post them. I appreciate if all y'all keep me in prayer. And also, let's collectively come together. If any of you have any tenant landlord issues, mainly in Maryland, mainly in Baltimore, that I can get to, that our tenant association can get to, that the Right to Housing Alliance may can come out to, and just, and different ones to back each other up. We need to start coming together. We need to really start putting a foothold on all of these corrupt, deceitful, greedy landlords who are, what's the right word? Who are maliciously, purposely stealing from their residents. Now, granted, I'm going to always make sure I say this. And sometimes I hear me repeat myself. Landlords are in business to make money. We understand that. And they had a right to make money. They bought a property. They expect to make money. They have the right to charge rent. They have the right to be reimbursed for anything they put out on the tenant's behalf. Like if there's a master gas bill and they paid it, then whatever the usage for that tenant is, they have the right to recoup that back. However, they don't have the right to jack up bills. They do not have the right to inflate rental costs. They don't have a right to do these things and bleed these tenants, all the tenants dry, trying to get every last free penny that they may have. It's not fair and it's not right. And we need to start standing up and take hold of this and say enough is enough. I'm not going to be fearful. And like I said, I've been retaliated against. I mean, the harassment has been horrific. Has it been always easy? Not whatsoever. I mean, my nice little 3.7 cushion GPA turned down to a 3.59, dealing with all this stuff in here, and actually almost failed because there was so much going on, and my pressure got to 2 something over 1 something. It was craziness. But again, I held strong. Even in all of this, I published 3 books. Okay, so we always have to know to stay well-rounded. We can't let a situation consume us. We have to still go on with life. Even if we're struggling and taking everything we have to put forth effort in it, I was still volunteering. I was still doing a lot of different stuff because we have to have other distractions, positive distractions, to keep us balanced. But I'm telling you, this is the day and time that if we don't start standing up and do something, they're going to sneak these laws past us, and where it's going to benefit them wholly. When you look at your lease, sit down and really read your lease. You'd be surprised what's in there. In this one, think about it. I mean, you got, well, of course, mine is the one they tried to issue me before they breached the lease is way different from anybody else's. But it also states in everyone's lease, every other person's lease, they try to word mine a little bit different. But anyway, this is what it says. It says the landlord or its billing company. First of all, if you got a billing company, what the landlord have to do with anything dealing with the billing? Okay, but let's say that. It says the landlord and or its billing company can calculate the utility bills. The utility company, right? The landlord or its billing company can calculate the utility billing that may or may not be accurate, may be higher or lower than the actual cost. By signing your initials to this spot, you are saying that the process is fair and reasonable. In addition, it says that your utility billing could include common areas like the lobby, the hallway, something that the owner is supposed to heat anyway, something supposed to be keep cool anyway. Now the tenant could be responsible for that. It also says vacant apartments. Now, why in the world would I get a bill, a gas heating bill, or a hot water heating bill, or a water bill, or a cooking gas, or anything for an apartment that I'm not living in and that is vacant? Again, you got to read these leases, people, before you rent. If you don't read it, some other way you have to read it to know what's going on. Because a lot of these also says in these leases that the landlord can periodically change the flat rate of your water, sewage, or other utility bills. Pay attention to your lease. Don't know if it's legal, because your lease should be your lease. Whatever they say you got to pay, that's supposed to be what it is. So that doesn't mean everything in your lease is legal, but just to know what's in your lease. Again, if you got a tenant landlord issue, mainly if you are in the state of Maryland, if you're in any state, still give us a buzz. Inbox me. If you're in Baltimore City, more so. Contact us. Contact Right Housing Alliance. Let them know what's going on with your situation. Let us be able to connect you to the right resources to be able to give you we can give you legal information, but sometimes you just want more legal information. You want legal advice. So we can get you to those right people in order to get you assistance. Again, we have to come together. If you have a tenant association at your building, please contact us here at the Bristol House Tenant Association by inboxing me, or if you ever see any of our notice or flyers around on our posts, you can call the number. I don't want to leave it out here because I don't want to just have the number floating around like that. Because it's a joint number. So anyway, if you have a court date or something coming up, never fear the court system. You can always call BNI, Baltimore Neighbors Incorporated. You can email them, and sometimes emailing is even better because you'll have the paper trail, which means that if you ask them something, you may forget exactly what they tell you. You might not remember the right verbiage. So you can always go back and you can look at the email and say, oh, they said this. And you know that, whatever you go forth on, you know that you're using it. Now, mind you, they're not representing you as a lawyer, but they're letting you know what the law is concerning your situation. You also have legal aid. You also have public justice center. You have all of these different places that you can go in order to talk to people. I found that for myself, depending on what the situation is, different ones prove to be more beneficial than the other. So again, you have all these different places to go. We need to stand strong. You got a tenant association called the Right Ties Alliance. Let them know that you want to align yourself up with them to bring the numbers together, to bring the power together, to be able to get these laws changed, because the laws that we have on the books are outdated. They was basically set up to protect landlords when they first started so people wouldn't rip them off, which is understandable. However, the same landlords are using these laws now to take advantage of the tenants. So these laws, most of these laws are outdated and need to be updated or need to be straight out changed. And the way we do that is the way we have numbers. We have gone before the boards without backing down. We know what we need to get. So again, if you have a tenant association, reach out to the Right Ties Alliance, reach out to the Bristol House Tenant Association. Let's come together. Let's start making these changes. And again, this is not about tenant versus landlord in the sense of, you hate us, we hate you kind of thing. It's nothing like that, because every tenant association knows that the main purpose of a tenant association is to bridge any communication gaps between the tenant and the landlord, for the tenant can be self-sufficient in dealing with the landlord. The tenant association is just there to back the tenant up when and if needed. So if you have a situation with a tenant association and y'all have this anger and you just want to get back, we're not going to be able to partner with you. That's not what we're about. We're about making changes. These changes have to be fair to the tenant as well as the landlord. So it goes both ways. So I want to make sure that's clear. When we come together, our first main objective is to stand up for the tenants. But it's not to the detriment of the landlord, and it's also not the landlords. Nobody should stand up for the landlord to be at the detriment of the tenant. It should be a common balance between the two. Landlords get in business to get paid to make money. Tenants rent in order to have a place, safe haven over their heads, that they know that if I'm paying this rent, I have me supposed to be a safe, comfortable place to stay. So across the board, it's supposed to find a medium that we can all meet at. But if the landlords decide that they don't want to meet in the middle, then what we have to do is still take our stand and still move as far as we have to move, even over that medium line, to make sure the tenants are protected against landlords that are corrupt, that are greedy, and that will do anything to drain the last penny available out of each and every tenant it has. We're not talking about the landlords who are good landlords. They want to make money, they keep their property up. They deal with their residents respectfully, and their tenants deal with them respectfully. I was down at the courthouse a few weeks ago, and there was a landlord there that was so distraught. Been a landlord for 30 years and not once had to evict the person. But because of the circumstances of this age, he had no choice and was really bothered and was almost basically in tears that he had to do such a thing. Those are the kind of landlords that we want to make sure we protect, because those landlords are the ones who are doing right by their tenant. They are not trying to cause no harm, but they know that when I have to step up my game to protect my property, I will do so. Not that I'm going to add different charges to get these people to pay all these different charges, unjustified charges, inflated, fraudulent, excessive charges. Not those. We're not talking about those. But again, this is not a war against one or the other. This is trying to find a common ground where each entity, the tenant as well as the landlord, can work collectively together. They can make their money, the tenant can have a place to live. There should not, no tenant, like with this building, it feels like a plantation. Straight out, point blank, period. It's like a plantation, like I'll give you a place, you go out, you harvest. You bring me that harvest back. And I'll let you stay in this little shack here of a place. Because some of these apartments are like shacks. Some of the apartments, like I said, you got broken toilets, you got duct tape holding stuff together, you got rat feces and holes in walls. You got cabinets that's so old they leaning on each other, but yet they moving people freshly into this apartment as if the apartment is brand new and spanking. Those kind of things are unacceptable. Those kind of things are unacceptable. So again, we should not feel like we're on a plantation. We should not feel like that we at the mercy of the landlord when we're paying them good money for them to have a certain kind of lifestyle that they wouldn't have if we wasn't paying this rent. I'm not talking about the renters who trying to skip out and don't want to pay. We're not standing up for them. You rent a place, you know that rent is due, you pay your rent. However, if you have trouble, hopefully you contact us or know who to contact to get yourself some help. Don't ever not try to talk to the management. Don't ever try to talk to the landlord. Let them know your situation, because there are many landlords out here that will work with you, not to get over on you, but work with you because they know things happen, times get hard. However, you have to be mindful not to sign agreements that you know you cannot afford to, that you can't afford to maintain because you're already behind. If you are behind, it doesn't make sense to make a payment arrangement with the landlord because you already don't have the money to pay what you owe. So how are you going to be able to pay the current rent and then pay some of this back money? It's better to go to court, let them get a right and accurate judgment against you for what you owe. Go back down to the court 3 days later, and always go to court. Don't never not go to court. You want your voice heard. Also, most places that will help you will be quicker to help you if you went to court to look like you were concerned. After 3 days and they get that judgment, you go back down to the court, you get a copy of it. It's so many different places that you can go to get assistance. They even have places like ACAN that you may can qualify up to $3,000 or $3,500 in rent. So if you're behind in your rent, you can get caught up. The qualifications, a lot of these places not as steep as you think they are. It's not like, well, what do you got? They don't get all the members. You think it's like social service where they got the 20 and 40 page thing you got to fill out, and they all look all kinds of business that don't have nothing to do with anything. It's not like that. Go to court, let them get the judgment, get yourself some help. That way you get caught up and you can just keep moving from there. But if you go month after month after month, always know this. The 4 times that they get a judgment against you, on the 5th time, they can file for no right of redemption, which means that if you are late after that 5th time, even if you pay your rent, they can still evict you. So you want to be mindful of that. You want to be mindful of that. Just while you go to court, you want to know if they got a judgment against you. If they did, what kind of judgment they get against you. How much was that judgment for? Because we done seen situations where the judges give the landlord a judgment of money that's not even owed. You can see where, because they're going by, again, with the landlord is saying, the landlord might not be giving all the right or the correct information, purposely withholding. Then you have some that don't even offer any evidence. It's just word of mouth. So again, if you're there, you get a voice. You say, yes, I owe exactly $805. If he says I owe $1,000, no, I owe $805. That's my rent. Here's my other rent that I paid. Shows that I'm caught up. And always, every month, get a copy of your ledger. When you pay your rent, get a copy of it. Before you pay your rent again, get another copy to know what your balance is, so you know exactly what you should be paying. So I just want to say that. So again, we have to come together. We cannot let this keep happening, because I'm telling you, these landlords are going to, mainly these corrupt ones, are going to get some laws passed underneath us, and we're really going to be suffering. So I'm telling you, we have to come together. We have to stand strong, and we have to make sure the laws that will benefit us as well gets passed. The laws that are outdated, that does not benefit us whatsoever, needs to be either changed, altered, or deleted. But we need some change in the system. In the district court, though there are a few good judges that are not biased. Unfortunately, there are a great number that I have personally experienced, not just in my cases, but just sitting and watching. Even when I went to court on June the 6th of this year, case after case after case, you see either the defendant was there but not the plaintiff, or the plaintiff there but not the defendant. And not once did I see the judge, the same judge I had, tell them, go out and see if you can find these people. I never once heard him say, well, let me go call to see why no one's here. But for some reason, for my case, it was. And what I was told by someone dealing with tenant landlord stuff is because, well, you had a lawyer. They probably didn't have a lawyer, so they wanted to find out what a lawyer was. So why are they getting any all of this benefit and all this leeway? They lawyers, so they know they belong in court. They know they belong in court. So why does somebody got to run around the building trying to find out? Why somebody got to go make personal calls? It's not right and it's not fair. And we need to change the system, and we can change the system. Again, I've been standing strong. You have the 7,000 family movement. Learn about it. We also have Sage Management that the tenants won. I think it was a little over $1 million, because of all of the fake charges and stuff they would put on the people's account to keep them in the hole and delinquent, to be able to get all this extra money out of them. They won that. Why? Because they stood together. It didn't start with a whole bunch of group of people. It started, to understand, 1 or 2 or 3 people. Then it added up to 4. Then it added up to 7. Then it kept added up. The same thing with myself. I've kind of been a lone dove in this one, because a lot of people here are fearful, because when you got people on fixed income, Social Security, housing vouchers, and they lived in places that are horrible. To this, they look like the Ritz. To ones that's on fixed income and Social Security, they've been in here 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. The majority of them can't just up and pack and go somewhere. Some of them don't know where to go or where to start from. They done found the place where they're comfortable. They know the area. They're not 100% comfortable in the building no more, but it's probably more comfortable and less fearful of going out and starting over. But we did have some that's been here 15, 20 years that left, said enough is enough. I can't deal with this no more. I'm tired of all these extra bills. I'm tired of these inflated bills. I'm tired of the elevator breaking down. I'm tired of all these different things. But again, we have to stand strong. We have to get these laws changed. And again, it's not to the detriment of the tenant nor the landlord. It's about being fair across the board for both parties. But if both parties do not want to step up and do what's right, the ones that does need to take the helm and go as far as they can get to make sure the law is fair, at least for themselves. And that's how I go. If they don't want to work together with us, that's fine. We hope that they would, but if they don't, that's fine. But we still need to go forth, because there's too many people, mainly women, African American women, that's losing their homes to all of this other bogus stuff. I know you heard the case of the young ladies that was in the housing project and was being sexually assaulted, sexually abused in some sort of fashion, or verbally or physically or whatever, to get maintenance certain done, to get certain things done that they were subjected to. This is absolutely unacceptable. And when are we going to come together as renters, as tenants, and say enough is enough? Don't wait till things happen to you or a family member. Step up. Just be a part. Just add to the numbers. And let's change these things. Let's make these things work. We pay a lot of money out to these landlords. A lot of money, and most of the time it's way more money than the apartment is worth. But we're paying it. So because we're paying it, we are due, whatever that lease says we are due in that lease, we are supposed to have it. And if we do not have it, we got to make sure we get it. It's as simple as that. So again, it starts with the laws. And these politicians, let me say this. As many of you that are working diligently to do what's right by the citizens of Baltimore. There's a lot of you, because I've talked and I've dealt with many of you. But there's also a great number of you on the other end who have accepted money for your fundraiser, for your campaign. So you tell us, tenants, when we need you, we done voted you in, we done trusted you, we took your word, And you turn around and what you do, you tell us, oh, it's a conflict of interest. So instead of giving the money back and doing your job, what you're supposed to do, you turn around and keep the money and you say, y'all got to get back. I can't do nothing for you. Close my door. Now, how right is that? And see, that's why we got to get out here and vote, people. When these things happen, they're not supposed to get our vote anymore. Don't give them your vote. Don't let them keep going in office, just sitting there chilling on the dime, getting this money and doing nothing. And we need to build some laws where all of this transaction between landlords and businesses and politicians don't go forth. So when it's time for the politician to do their job, they will do their job. Period. People were working hard. I've worked all my life. And even though I'm on disability, I'm still trying to work. I'm still volunteering. I'm still putting out books. I'm still doing things, trying to be viable in this society. But let me tell you something. I don't care if you work once in your life and you pay some taxes. You don't pay some taxes. So your taxes meant something, and they still mean something. Still let your voice be heard. Don't hide behind it. Well, I'm not working or I'm not doing. So what? You done paid in. And because you paid in, your voice should be heard. Simply put, it should be heard. So again, we need to come together. We need to cut all this nonsense out and let these landlords feel they can do what they want. Let these property managers figure they can come in and do what they want because they're just trying to fill their pockets. And we got to stop these politicians from taking the one. I'm talking about the bad ones. We're not talking about the good ones who really have good properties and good managers and they can. Because I done met a lot of tenants down at their courthouse that's in tears because they don't know what to expect when they go in this court. But they'll sit there and tell us, just by sitting there, you're just sitting there. People are like, what's going on here? And when you get to talking, and I heard many people say, well, even with this company, Blue Ocean. Of course, it wasn't his property; it was another property. And I remember the young lady saying that she was 2 months behind in her rent. She's been struggling. She's been talking to the property manager. The property manager has been more than helpful with her and more than patient. I'm trying to help her, even though she's following her course, she's talking with her and she's felt good about it. She was just afraid of the court. So I told her, as long as if you have a management that are open to talking to you, they're going to have to file because they don't know what your real intentions are. I said, but at the same token, any arrangements or anything that's being made, you need to get it in writing because just as they don't know what your intentions are, you really don't know what their intentions are. And even though the property managers, by the owner's own comment in the article, all property managers have all executive decision-making properties where they can just make decisions for the building, whatever they want to do with the building, as if it's theirs, because he feel that they would run it better if it felt like theirs. So again, there are some good mixed, sprinkled in to something bad. So the fact of the matter is trying to maintain the good, not alienate the good, while we deal with the bad seeds. So even though you can have a company that's totally polluted, that doesn't mean everybody all the way down is polluted as well. But the fact is, if it's there, it needs to be exterminated. As simple as that. And that's what I'm standing my ground for. This is why I'm standing my ground. This is why you would never, ever, 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 and I'm going to claim this right here and now, see me settle out of court. You would never see me settle in a tenant landlord issue out of court. Because when it comes down to it, it's not about the money. See, that's what people understand. Money, people think that, if you throw money, like this landlord felt like, okay, well, if we buy her out of her lease, we offer her this money. They already looked at my income. They already know my situation. She's on a disability. She's limited on this. She probably ain't got but so much, whatever the case may be. So they think we offer some money. And if anybody knows, I've been working since I was 7. So I'm not in any way desperate for a dime or a dollar. Never have been. And money doesn't impress me. Never has. The only time money is viable in my mind is when I got a bill that's due. And I hope to have the money to pay it. Outside of that, I can care less if I have a dime, a penny, whatever, because it doesn't matter, because God said I will provide all your needs. And that's what he's doing since I've been here. If you look at my income, if you look at everything of all of just the necessities, it doesn't cover even half. It does. Well, actually, it might cover half. That's about it. Only covers. But when you talk about different things like the rent, the gas, electric, the phone, the food, personals, and all this other stuff, more than half it doesn't cover. Simply that. But guess what? God honors His word, and why? Because I honor my word back to God. Because God said, work in the vineyard, use your gifts and use your talents. And that's what I've been doing. I've been using my gifts, I use my talent, I volunteer, I do stuff with the community. I do what I believe I should be doing, and I do exactly what He tells me to do. And because of that, He has maintained me. He has kept His word. When He said in Jeremiah 33:6, I will provide health, healing, abundance of prosperity, and safety, He has done just that. And I can guarantee you, if you look at my records, if you look at where I am, it's no other way that you can see why I'm still here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I have what I have, and able to maintain. If it wasn't for Him, it's no other explanation. It's no that you can't go on my account and say, "Oh, she done got this, because there's nothing there, God." There's nothing. So again, the Lord kept His word. He kept His word, and I know when all of this is said and done, I know the cushion in which I sit is going to be plush. Because right now, I'm comfortable. I'm not going to say I'm content, because there's too much going on to be content. But I'm going to tell you something. I found a way to be comfortable, at peace. Do I go up and down with all these emotions? Yes, because certain things constantly happen, and you got to constantly readjust yourself, none of that stuff affect you. But I'm going to tell you, and I can guarantee you again, you will never see me sit around the court. You will never see me back down. You will never, ever, ever, ever see me turn my head to a situation that I know I'm supposed to be involved in. So whether it's my personal case or somebody else's case, whatever the Lord leads me to do, that's what I'm going to do. And I hope that you will do the same too. Again, we got to come together. We got to get these numbers, and let's do what we got to do, and let's get this thing right. All right? Y'all have a good day. I know it was a long conversation, but I hope some good nuggets that you was able to pull out of this in order to feed your situation. If you got a tenant landlord issue, if you are a tenant, call the Right to House on the line, call the Bristol Tenant Association, inbox me, and I'll try to, wherever the help you may need, we'll try to get help to you, whether it's legal, whether it's financial, whatever it may be, we'll work with you. All right? Peace, blessings, and peaceful dreams, sweet awakening to us all. If it's night, if it's not, enjoy the beautiful day that the Lord has allotted us, and I thank the Lord for breathing life into each and every one of us. All right, peace.